everyone. Today is the Crafting for a Cause playlist. I'm going to tell you a little more about my co-host and this month's cause. Don't forget to watch all of the ads so that we can boost up that donation. Starting off with this pine board, it is one of those boards that's all glued together and all that, and I am going to do a little bit of wood burning on it. I've got this design that I got from Creative Fabrica, and I printed it out on my Cricut, and I've got it all ready to apply onto my board, and like magic, there it is. No need to watch the struggle, right? I'm just going to remove all of that transfer tape, of course, and I have found personally, I think that the more like square or rectangles are my favorite to do because there is like, if you don't put it exactly, centered like from top to bottom, I'm not too worried about it. And I do find it easier to get it from side to side centered, if that makes sense. And I am going to take some torch paste. I'm going to link where I got it below in case you want to pick any of it up. And I am going to just stipple that on. And it takes a lot longer to do it this method, in my opinion, than what it did when I had one of my transfers from Couture. I think that is a much faster method. Just to let you know, I did actually use it on one of my Couture transfers in my last video. I will link that for you below. That way you can check it out if you want to. And I go through the process of stippling this all on, and then we're ready to remove the vinyl. Now, when you're doing this, just so you know, I got quite a bit of that paste like on my hands, like while I'm removing it. I waited for it to dry pretty good. Like it was pretty dry by the time I started taking off the vinyl. And you're going to remove the vinyl just like you normally would. And just like as if you had done paint instead of the actual torch paste. Now, again, it is kind of a little bit like sticky-ish on the vinyl. So once you're done removing all of it, make sure you wash your hands because it's made to burn. So, if you apply it with heat. So, not that it's going to burn your skin, but we're going to go ahead and start burning the wood. Now, I am using like one of those more industrial type of heat guns. I'll link it for you below in my Amazon storefront, which one I picked up. It's reasonably inexpensive, to be honest. And this is, put into more like a 5 times speed. So it isn't this fast. You go pretty slow, making very smooth motions to really get that wood burning going. And now I would not recommend using this kind of board if you have a big design like this, because I did experience some cracking, and you're going to hear it in a minute. So if your phone's up really loud, turn it down a little bit. But I may have let the smoke alarm go off, and here goes. Yeah, it's going off in my house. But that's all right. So we're going to keep going, though. I ended up finishing it up, and it did warp the board. It did crack the board a little. Remember, these are all glued together. We're going to fix that a little bit. This is for me, so I'm not terribly worried if it's not perfect, but just be aware of that, I should say. I'm going to take some Star Bond medium glue. This is like a medium. It's a glue, but it's also a gap filler. I have the thicker format for the gap filler, but this is such a tiny little crack. And don't mind my head in the way there. But what I'm doing is it comes with these little tiny nozzles. So I just attach that to the glue, and I'm just going to fill in the hole. The crack. What I would suggest doing too, that I didn't do and I should have, is after you fill in the little cracks or whatever, you can wipe it away and then use your accelerator. And that'll just make it, basically fixes up everything. And then I was sanding it down, and I was like, oh, it's sanding off some of my burn, and it's kind of applying that to the rest of the wood. I'm like, I kind of like that. So I ended up taking a pretty fine grit sandpaper, and I'm just going through and sanding it down pretty much all over. And what I'm trying to do mostly is to make it smooth where I applied my Star Bond, and otherwise also making it smooth just so I can apply my top coat. and smearing around my, my soot, essentially, I guess is what it is. I like the look of it. I do wipe it down just a little bit because I don't want to have tons and tons all over everything. Once I have done that, I will go ahead and seal this one. You can do it with mineral oil if you are going to put food on it. This is a shellac. I went ahead and took it and put it into its own little cup because I didn't want to get all of that little bits of soot and everything in the full can of the sealer. Again, shellac. I will list it for you below too. This one is not tinted, but apparently you can tint it. I might try that in the future. And I end up doing 2 coats on the top and 1 coat around the sides and the bottom. And I needed a little something. It needed either handles or feet or something. So we're going to make this into a riser. What I did is I just painted some of these little things as feet. They're from that brain teaser game from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to add a little bit of the Star Bond adhesive, and you really only need a tiny little bit. And then I'm going to spray the accelerator on my board, and that sucker is stuck. It isn't going anywhere. Now these obviously have holes, so just be mindful of where you're putting the holes. I have one that's on the board, and then I have them facing kind of more inward, so you can't really see it. Except for the first one I did. I made a little bit of a mistake, but that's okay. No one can see it, and it's for me. So here's how it turned out. I'll show you the hot cocoa bar in just a few minutes when we get done. And I wanted to let you know today is part of Crafting for the Cause, and this month's charity is Heart Support. And my co-host is Hot Mess and Hot Glue, her name is Lynn Combs, and she's absolutely amazing. So she chose Heart Support, and what Heart Support is all about helping people who are struggling with some kind of mental health problems, issues. It is just kind of a support system for people who may not have a support system. And I thought this was a really important cause to bring up in the month of December because a lot of people struggle with this, especially around the holidays. So if you are one of those people, please reach out to someone through Heart Support. If you would like to donate to Heart Support, I will have that link listed for you below. All of the ad revenue from my video today will be going to Heart Support. It's going to be anything I get for this video all the way until next month, and I will be making that donation. We're going to go ahead and get back into our projects. All right, so we're going to do some Couture. You're not surprised, I'm sure. So I am taking this one transfer. This is a 5x7 or an A-size transfer, and it says snuggle weather. How perfect, right? I liked it because I could leave it up all, winter. Not that we really have much of a winter in Florida, but I'm going to pretend. And I am taking the color Shimmer Frost, and I was on the fence. Originally, I was like, well, maybe I should do some red and some silver, this shimmery silver color. And I decided just to do the whole thing in the Shimmer Frost. I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep it really pretty and very classic, and I'm just going to apply that completely. Again, see, originally I was trying to keep away from the word snuggle, and then I just gave up. I was like, nope, we're just gonna go for it. It has a lot of different details, and this would be really pretty depending on the colors if you did kind of like an ombre effect. Anyways, maybe another day, right? And I am applying this, and this board is actually one of the reusable boards. I'll have it listed for you below. It comes with this really pretty pillar, which I'll show you in just a minute. With the shimmers, you want to kind of give it a second pass over just to get some of that glitter through the screen. And as I struggle to get the corner of my transfer, here we go. This is live. This is real time. So, and here's the peel, and you'll just see, this is kind of the magic of it, is that you get such beautiful crisp lines, and it's washable. So come the heat of summer, I won't have a snuggle weather sign anymore. And I'm going to take this one too. This is actually part of a 4-pack. And I'm going to just add it onto my little chalkable chip. Is also a Couture surface. I'm going to do it backwards, where basically I put the transfer down on the table and then I put the chip on top of it. It just seems like that's the easiest method in this case. And it was going to stick to my desk, so I was like, well, I'll just put it right on top of the backing. And I'll smooth everything down, and then I'm going to do the same color as I did on the last one, is that same Shimmer Frost color. It's just kind of perfect for winter, and and everything like that. So we're just going to take our squeegee, just like before, and I'm just going to go through the whole thing. And again, on the Shimmer Frost ones, you want to give it a second pass to try and press some of that glitter. It's like a super, super fine glitter. And it doesn't get everywhere, at least not in your craft room. It'll get everywhere when you rinse off your transfer. But you know what? Sometimes you have to make sacrifices if you want to have glitter. And once I do that, I just scoop off all of the excess, put it back in my jar, and then we will do the peel eventually. Sometime. Oh, I had a little spot that looked like it was lacking. I will take it up and peel it back, and because again it's like such a smaller surface compared to the transfer, I just hold it tight, and it turned out really cute. See, there's the pillar for this little surface. Like I said, I will link it for you below. And what's cool is you can do it in the horizontal or in the vertical like format. Landscape or portrait. And then I'm going to take my crocodile and I'm going to punch a little hole in my chockable chip. At this point, my paste is already dry. And eventually, yep, here we go. I was like, come on, what are you doing? You're just going to get a little hole. I decided not to try to get the center because I wanted it to kind of sit a little bit at an angle. It's as easy as that. And I'll have that crocodile listed below in my Amazon storefront as well, if you want to check it out. It's a good Christmas gift too. I've got just some regular red ribbon. This thing has been in my stash for who knows how many years. I'm just going to put it around a couple of times around the pillar, and then I'm just going to tie just a regular old bow. It takes me a minute to kind of get it all situated and figured out, but you get the basic gist of it. It's going to be a cute little thing to add to my hot cocoa bar. There it is. You'll see, like I said, you'll see the whole thing here in just a second. We got one more to do though. I have a printable here. This is from Creative Fabrica, and I'll have that linked below as well. If you want to sign up for a month-long subscription with them, it is a special thing that they have set up for me for $1. I'll have it linked for you. It'll renew at like $19. So make sure if you want to cancel it, you do that before it, hits that full price. Now I've got a piece of tissue paper that has obviously been just folded up and forgotten. I am going to tape it down to a sheet of paper, and we're basically going to make like our own decoupage paper. Now obviously this is pretty wrinkled, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little Cricut mini heat press, and I'm going to put it on like the lowest setting, and I'm going to just kind of iron out some of those wrinkles. If you do not have a little mini heat press or a heat press at all, you can use just a regular iron, obviously without the steam, or you store your tissue paper in a manner that it doesn't wrinkle this much. So it just kind of depends. Like I said, this was just sitting somewhere. It was scrap, so I figured why not use it, right? I do front and back because the paper starts to kind of want to fold, not really fold, but it kind of wants to curve a little. I print that all out, and now I've got a piece of wood, just a random little piece of wood. Originally, this little guy was going to be a coaster, but I am incapable of cutting something all the same shapes and sizes, so it's not a coaster. It's going to be a little sign. I've got my Waverly plaster paint, and I spritzed some water down on the wood and some water onto the paint, like when it's sitting on the wood, to get more of like a wash. Now here's my little hot cocoa bomb sign, and I'm just going to apply just a little bit of Mod Podge, and then we'll just stick it down onto the little wood sign, smooth it on down. And like I said, just be careful because it is tissue paper. It is pretty thin. You can obviously also do this just with regular printer paper. It kind of depends on what you're going for. I'm going to dry it just a little bit. This is on the cool setting on this heat gun because I don't want to catch anything on fire again. And then I'm taking that same little heat press and I'm just going over it, and it's going to smooth out the wrinkles. It doesn't eliminate them entirely. It just kind of smooths them out, makes them a little less like, obvious. I don't know the right word for that. Then I'm going to take some antique wax and I'm just going to very, very lightly go over it. I figured if I had any wrinkles, I want it to be a little more amplified. It's going to, obviously the antique wax is going to grab onto those wrinkles. I wanted to add a little bit of age, so I go in a little bit more, with a little bit more of the antique wax, like around the perimeter of this little sign. I think it just adds just a cute little touch, you know, gives it a little bit dimension, gives it just a little bit of worn. This cocoa bar that you're going to see here in a minute is actually on a faux dry sink. Obviously it's not like a real dry sink, but it's a dry sink that my grandfather made years and years and years ago, and he passed away a few years ago, and now I have it. So I have a whole set. I'll have to show you guys sometime. So I do the coat of Mod Podge on the top just to kind of seal everything in, which is optional. But here's how it turned out. It turned out really, really cute. Now I'm going to show you kind of like the whole setup. So here is the hot cocoa bar. I've got my really cute little hot cocoa riser there, and I've got some jars. The big one is from IKEA. The small ones are from Target. Those white and pink, that's hot cocoa. My daughter is gonna love it, hot, like pink hot cocoa. I've got that little box and that little sign right there on the back I made. I will link the video below for you. I've got just some cute little things added in, another little box from Target, a little pitcher with candy canes, just a cute little setup. And again, that dry sink was something that I got from my grandfather, super special to me. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope that you will check out Heart Support and Lynn, and go check out the whole playlist. There's going to be several other crafters that are participating in the playlist for you to go and check out, and I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you next time.